Now, welcome back. Earning a diploma has never been so costly, apparently. The national average for 4 years of tuition, room and board at a private university in the US is now at $179,000 and $81,000 for a public school. So, is the investment in higher education worth it? Well, Jae Gardener is the CEO and founder of the Ivy Key, an education, of course, company offering college prep tuition. And thank you very much for joining us on the program.
Thank you so much.
I've really looked into this subject, and one of my pet subjects I've found fascinating. The key a lot of students ask me, for example, whenever I talk about this subject is, will I get a job at the end of my college, 4 years at college?
Well, again, that's something that we've seen in recent years, obviously somewhat in decline, especially with the recession. I mean, especially we saw a lot of students coming out in 07, 08 when the market crashed, and you saw a lot of students with college degrees wondering, what are they going to do? And I think that right now we have a lot of people thinking when we have sort of this app era that you can come with your great new company and that you'll become the next Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates. It's kind of, those are the outliers. Again, the earning potentials of people who actually complete college is $500,000 more than people who only have a high school degree over their lifetime.
So at the end of the day, is it really worth going to college?
It is, because when you look at the return on investment, it's actually about 15% per year versus if you took that same amount of money and put in the stock market, you only get about 7% return.
So an average debt for a student leaving college is going to be what in 4 years?
I mean, it varies. On average, we'll see students sometimes in the 80,000, 100,000 range, but most times you'll see more students around the $30,000, $40,000 range.
That's even before they've got a job. That's when they leave college. That's an immense burden. So it means they can't go out and find decent accommodation. They can't make ends meet. They can't go out and buy a car. Substandard living, despite having carried how many, 3 or 4 jobs whilst at college. Does that make sense for students at college?
Well, it does. I mean, even though you may look at someone like Obama who says, I just finished off paying off my student loans, right? You're still the president. You're still having an earning potential of $250,000 per year. Now, when you juxtapose that to a student who actually doesn't finish college, right, that just has a high school degree, again, your earning potential is very limited. When you're thinking about, on average, that person is going to be making anywhere from $500,000 to $600,000 less, over their lifetime. Again, it's not worth it. And even though you may say that we have $1 trillion debt, right, that's going to be saddled for the government, students need to make better use of scholarships, of financial federal grants that are out there. We see FAFSA completion rates are very low. CSS profile completion rates are very low. And what happens is that we have a lot of these students who are taking out predatory loans. And the reason why is because they're not planning ahead. And I think that's a major issue, especially when it comes to college guidance. We have understaffed college guidance offices where you have sort of a 500-to-1 ratio, and a lot of these students are getting to their schools even right now and don't know how to pay for it because no one ever advised them on that.
I've got to say with my hands up, I'm very much against student fees and student tuition fees because I think education shouldn't be a privilege.
Of course, I agree with that. That's kind of the premise of my company.
Isn't that a scary thing to look at though? If you're suddenly thinking to yourself, you come from a community college going to a college, and you think all of a sudden you're going to be straddled with this debt. How on earth are you going to cope? That's a disincentive to go to college, though, isn't it? Planning on the other side.
Oh, I agree with you. And I think what's happening is what's being clouded is we have such a high rate of all these for-profit colleges that are coming up, your University of Phoenix, right? And a lot of these degrees are not holding weight. So a lot of people are getting these degrees, paying out, and not finding jobs because we've sort of diminished the value.
But there aren't enough jobs in the market, though. That's the problem. Not everyone can get employment as soon as they leave. How many graduates leave college, and how many of those positions are vacant? Let's talk about the $1 trillion debt that's been raised very quickly. Yeah. What impact will that have on the market? It's going to have a ripple effect. Maybe not now, but in the next 5 to 10 years.
I completely agree. I can't agree with you more. I think that there's going to be the new recession, and I believe that because...
And that's postponed recession.
I agree, too, because obviously we are now coming out of that great recession, but that's going to be the next bubble to pop. I mean, when you have so many students who are coming out saddled with that debt and they're not paying it back because, again, the barista job that they have is not making ends meet, and then they're...
Talking about the $80,000.
Exactly. What's going to happen is that who's holding that purse? The government. And when everyone defaults, no different when you saw essentially in the insurance market, we're going to see that happen again.
Joe, I'd love to get more into this, but
I know.
Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Of course, now, next week on Rise Exchange, prices wars may become a thing of the past. Now, for a quick look at the markets before we leave, the Dow closing at 18,080, the S&P 500 closing at 2117, and the Nasdaq ended the day at 5,092. I'm Akhtar Khan in for Andrew Schmertz. Thanks for watching Rise Exchange. Goodbye.